it started with just a property assessment that went kind of through the roof when we moved in. It just rocketed. The property was assessed for about $460,000, and then after we bought it, without a new reevaluation being done, it was raised to $700,000.
She was requesting information from the city of Nashua for tax information that they had. They refused to give it to her. They said it was too complicated to present, they couldn't do it, it was too hard, whatever. Being frustrated, she went to court. She went to the Superior Court in Nashua and prevailed against the town, a city. The city then appealed that to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, but she didn't give up. She prevailed in the Supreme Court.
And in Laurie's case, she felt initially like she had to do it because her tax bill went up by $5,000, and she didn't understand why, and she could not get an answer from the city when she asked, and that launched this sort of career of holding Nashua accountable.
I said, well, this just can't be right. I said, so here's the deal. You're doing a new evaluation next year. I'm going to be watching you. I'm going to be watching very closely what goes on here. And I left it at that. In 2018, the new numbers come out, and we get the numbers, and we print out our street, and my husband and I start looking at it, and we were fuming because it was so apparent that the assessment was never correct. And it was still not correct. We were still well above the neighbors.
And she went to the city. She went to the state taxing department. She went everywhere. She does have a willingness to look everywhere. She should have been a reporter, maybe. She really does not give up. And so she went to multiple city offices, to state offices. She did her homework. She found out what she was entitled to. And she figured out how to use the right to know law. And she's brought multiple cases trying to get what some of us would think would be basic information, which is, how did you get to my tax assessment?
It was a pretty severe route she took, very compelling in the sense of doing a lot of extra work, spending thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours to get the information that she should have been provided, clearly, by law.
And I think the information she's been able to get for herself in terms of tax record information is a benefit to everybody. And that's kind of the idea, I think, of Right to Know. When you seek records for yourself, you really are helping your community.
It was disappointing because while I was engaged in trying to get this assessment down, I started doing a lot of research on how they were handling the office and the numbers, and just found a lot of inconsistencies and raised those with the Department of Revenue. And I started looking at some work on specific assessors in there that I thought was just not in compliance with state law. So the DRA took the complaints, they did their own investigation, and they ended up issuing sanctions against Nashua assessors and one of the contractors who did the reevaluation in 2018. So it had impact.
She did not give up on her First Amendment rights. She did not. And I'm sure that a number of people that wouldn't give stuff to her thought she was a pain. And in reading the decision, at least from the Supreme Court decision, she was right. And we're not going to punish people that don't want to just say no and walk away.
They were hoping I'd just go away by ignoring me. You know, if we don't give her answers, she's just going to get tired and leave.
Free speech and redress on grievances. And this is an essential part of the Constitution and very important. We always talk about the free speech aspect, but we don't usually talk about the ability to seek redress for grievances. And this is what happened here. And it was crystal clear what was going on, at least to the courts, both Superior and Supreme.
You know, in so many respects, the city wins by losing slowly because they employ that strategy so heavily.
The citizens' legislature of the state has decided that we want open government. And when government closes up or makes it very difficult as they did in this case, for people to get the information they should have gotten, it calls for sanctions. And the court did, in fact, give her sanctions.
She's been given attorney fees by the court. She's had multiple victories. Kind of a highlight of this case for me was the trial court said to Nashua, you need to go back to Right to Know law school because you are continually saying no and you're doing so inappropriately.
Government should work for everybody. You shouldn't have to speak the Queen's English or be an engineer or be a data person to have your government respond to your requests.
You and I and everyone else will benefit from the decisions that Laurie Ortolano has gotten from the court. You know, compensation for her attorney fees, clarity that the law does assume we have access to records, reminder that the Constitution in this state says that, and that helps all of us. And so I'm grateful for her that she's gone back and got opinion after opinion where it says, no, this information should be given to you without all of these restrictions. And at this point, Nashua, you need to get some training because it's that important.